So today I'm going to discuss, let's make sure my mic is on, reasons why a tight psoas can lead to a varicocele. And I'm going to talk about the solutions as well to this problem. So first and foremost, what is the psoas? If you're watching this video, you probably have an idea of it. So here's our lovely stick figure down here. There's the head, shoulders, arms, pelvis, and legs. Now, with regards to the psoas, connects the hips to the pelvis and it wraps around to the inner thighs. So the green line is roughly where the psoas is. Now this allows you to move your upper legs, allows you to move your back, your lower back, allows you to move your hips, and it allows you to actually stand upright in the first place. So without your psoas, you would just fold in half. Think of doing sit-ups. When you're doing sit-ups, you're using your psoas muscles. So the thing about the psoas muscle is it's also known colloquially as the soul muscle. And the reason for that, it's a very specific word, right? And it has a lot of meaning to it. And now, I personally first heard about this from a Navy SEAL fitness and motivational figure called David Goggins. And he was actually going through a sequence of dying. He was on his way to dying as a result of having a very tight psoas. This is somebody who ran ultra marathons, who did something like 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in a row. So he had, over the time, gained so many injuries, massive shin splints, right? So much tension in his shins, so much tension from doing upper body work, so much tension in his pelvis from doing ultra marathons. Now, what are you doing? What have you been doing? Have you been sitting a lot? Have you been standing a lot for your work? Perhaps you're a nurse, maybe you're a construction worker, maybe you're an athlete, maybe you're an entrepreneur. Even your standing workstation can be an issue, right? Whatever it is, maybe vigorous exercise more than 3 times a week, a vigorous amount of it. Over time, your psoas can just store all of that tension. The psoas muscle is in many ways an involuntary muscle. So it responds in a fight or flight way. And so your central nervous system has a sense of what state you're in. If you see a lion, your brain's going to perceive a lion. It's going to get very scared and it's going to make you tense. Your psoas will pull your inner thighs so that your knees get closer to your pelvis and you can run faster. You can kick, you can flee, you can fight. And this can become an issue of the psoas just becoming overly loaded if you're doing some of these things, sitting, standing too much, exercising very vigorously. And I'm going to give you solutions in this video as well, so that you can continue to have a very varied lifestyle. You can have if you're an athlete, you can continue to do athletics. If you're an entrepreneur, you can continue to work and do what you need to do. The way that I fix this is by strengthening. If you're watching right now, I would invite you to click the link in the description and head right now to my program where I show you the most simple and elegant way to recover from a varicocele and fix issues from a tight psoas. So let's describe right now how a tight psoas can lead to a varicocele. Right, I've already mentioned that there's a lot of pressure in the pelvic area, and obviously the scrotum is part of the pelvis. And a lot of this is involuntary muscles that are overly tight and causing a lot of pressure. So a varicocele itself, let's say here's a normal vein, here is a dilated vein. Now in a varicocele, oftentimes also the valves have become imperfect. They've become dysfunctional. So rather than operating as proper structures, they've broken down, and now blood no longer pools away from your testes back to your heart, which is what it should do. Instead, the blood pools back in on itself, and it begins to cause the vein to distend and become very inefficient and suboptimal. So let's say that this connects to the testes. In fact, I'll draw this a little bit differently. The veins, it won't just be one vein, but I'm just using this for illustrative purposes. It's actually part of the spermatic cord, so there'll be a lot of different veins. So let's say that the right hand side is a vein that is not working properly, and the left hand side, the vein is working properly. So this is a abnormal spermatic cord, and this is a normal spermatic cord. So this is testes here. I get rid of the V. That's the testes, right? Now, there would be a series of veins leading to the testes, but I've used it for illustrative purposes. You might notice that your balls are actually, if you have a varicocele, they're reducing in size. This is a big sign you have a varicocele. Now, make sure you consult a healthcare professional. None of the information in this video is medical advice. A lot of this stuff can actually be caused by different health issues. It can actually be a tumor, for example, or cancer. So if you suspect you have an health issue, make sure you consult a medical healthcare professional and talk to them about your healthcare issue. In this video, I share my own experience of healing a bad varicocele that I had for about 2 decades, and I want to share what I know about healing, because what I know is just not available online. So I want to share what I know with others who can benefit from it. So when blood pools, this leads to perfect testes. When it doesn't pool, this leads to testes that work properly. Testes are responsible for testosterone, which can affect your confidence and your fertility, sperm count, sperm concentration. So you want that to function as well as you can. And I mentioned earlier that the sequence of issues that lead to this is because of, can be caused from a tight psoas that causes too much pressure in the pelvic area, right? Which leads to the veins having more trouble operating normally. This is a very sensitive area of your body. It's the family jewels, as they say. So you don't want undue pressure in your pelvis. So I'm going to talk about number 3, the third reason why a tight psoas can cause a varicocele, and that is it's an overall imbalance in alignment and muscle groups. So let's say spinal alignment as well as muscle group alignment, that leads to a cascade of undue pressure. So if you have a weak pelvic floor, I'll tell you actually a quick story about this. When I was really I was having a lot of fun, meeting lovely ladies and having lovely nights out. I actually gained I started my healing journey, I would say, almost when I first started really strengthening my pelvic floor. And I did it because I wanted to last longer in bed. I still had my varicocele issue. I was using things like Tonkat Lee, which is a natural herb, to just increase the amount of testosterone that I had, which was very useful for performing as well as I wanted to. And so increasing the strength of my pelvic floor by things like Kegels actually did a lot of good wonders for my varicocele. But the program that I've made is a quantum leap beyond this. You don't want to just focus on the pelvic area to fix your body. And that's really the main message that I put forward in these videos and in my program. You have an imbalance, not just of your psoas, but your psoas is tight because your body is not working as a whole as it should do, right? So you want to strengthen your body so that it together works in such a way that it is optimized. And the way to understand it that has been very useful for me, that gave me what really cured my varicocele and didn't just alleviate some of the symptoms, because Kegels can eliminate some of the symptoms, but it doesn't heal you, is you want to strengthen yourself. You want to there's 2 steps. Number 1 is you want to open. So you want to open your shoulders and you want to open your hips. But number 2 is once you open it, at the same moment that you open it, once you're open, in that same session, you want to specifically strengthen your body so that your shoulders are pulled back and your chest is open and you have as much of a V taper as possible leading down into your psoas. So your psoas actually doesn't connect that way. It connects from your pelvis into your spine. But the thing about it is so the red line is the demonstrating strengthening yourself in such a way that you're moving towards what is the swimmer's archetype or the swimmer's body, right? And swimmers actually have according to one 2015 study of people that played water polo, they can have a lower incidence of varicoceles. The more that you can move the power of your body and the strength of your body up towards your shoulders being back and open, the less that your psoas needs to work because so much of your strength is distributed up towards your shoulders. Now, you might hear this and think, oh, I'll just go to the gym and I'll lift weights. That doesn't work. The problem with that is if you're doing something like a deadlift or whatever it is, you're still using so much of your psoas in the movement, right? One thing I could recommend actually is one of those bags of sand, right? You just pick up bags of sand and you just kind of throw it around. You're kind of using your lower body, but so much of it is really, you're opening up your shoulders and you're lifting it, you're stretching it, and you're undoing muscle knots. That's something that I mentioned in my program as well. Now, that's very good. But again, with bodybuilders and people that do deadlift and powerlifting, they can end up kind of having a hunched, tight feel to them. You have to specifically strengthen your body so that your upper body is doing pretty much all of the work. And it's also doing so in a way that it's encouraging your shoulders to be back, your chest to be up, your neck to be, your chin to be as far away from your chest as you can, or your shoulders as you can, and your shoulders to be as far away from your pelvis as you can, right? In the right alignment. That is the way to solve the issue. The more you can train so that you open up your points of tension and then you strengthen in a V-taper. I mentioned bags of sand, and I mentioned also exercises that really focus on these points being back and maximal distance from each other as well. So the more you can have the maximal distance from these points as you're training, the faster that your varicocele, in my experience, can heal. So that is it. Those are the 3 ways that a tight psoas can lead to a varicocele and the way to solve it. If you don't want to wrestle around in the weeds and the mud and try and solve this and kind of not get there and spend weeks and months and years trying to heal naturally, you just want to get it done so that you are anti-varicocele and you're like not just somebody who doesn't have a varicocele, but you're way above the average. Your testosterone is higher than normal, your fertility is higher than normal. In my view, this is the way to go about it. And in my program, I show you the most simple and elegant way of doing that. So click the link right now and see my course and get your journey started. It takes less than 1.5 hours a week, and my program was able to heal a very bad varicocele of over 2 decades in an astonishing speed. So if you want to quantum leap your journey, click the link right now and do yourself a favor. But that's it. The 3 ways that a tight psoas can cause a varicocele and how to heal it naturally.